A big welcome to Ray Margetson, the author of Beautiful Grounds, to the non-league radio show. Ray, I want to get into your first memories of football. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first got involved in the game.
Yeah, I was taken to football games by my uncles over to Arsenal or Orient over the years. But eventually supported West Ham for my sins. And whenever I could get to West Ham games, I could. And as a second team Orient as well. Nice to support those. But apart from supporting teams, I've been involved in football through coaching youth teams. Going back to the early 90s, really. Level 2 coaching badge up to. And then I stopped, could have gone on to UEFA B, but I decided that it's going to take up too much of my time. But apart from that, I've been playing football going back to about 87, 88 with Ilford Football Club. So my first insight really into non-league football, as well as playing, also being secretary of the club for a year as well. So it was a real insight into finding a home ground for the club when they were a bit nomadic, to say the least. So a bit of background now.
Yes, we're going to go on the book. It's a journey through, as it says on the front, a journey through the non-league football clubs of England. Summer 23, first edition. We'll get on to more editions possibly later on in the interview. But where did the idea behind the book come from?
Well, if you look inside a book, the book dates from the reviews going back to 2017. And what I've been doing is going to games for a bit of fun. I started putting it on Facebook, a bit of review. First of all, it's just a few lines describing the grounds and the food, etc. And making a bit of a laugh, really. And it was only up until about 9 months ago that people said, this is good, you should write a book. And I thought, maybe I should. I've got enough material. I've got all the blogs that I've been putting on. I've got all the photographs. So I collated it all, got in touch with an old friend of mine who's also a publisher, funny enough. And we put a book together.
Yes, it's just the very first game that I'm looking at here was a game in Spain. So, so you're on holiday, I'm guessing, and then you're taking in a game.
Yes, exactly. Over the Almeria region, I've been over there a few times, taken in not only Majaca but Los Galados. And I thought, why not? It's great. You support non-league football, whether it's in this country or in Spain. But that was just a couple I put in from Spain itself, which I thought, why not keep it in there? It's about the English game, but it was nice to throw those two bits in as well.
Yeah, I was wondering how the planning. Obviously, when you've done a lot of them, the planning to do more. How do you plan out where you're going to go for the day? So I'm guessing it might depend on time and distance as well. How does the actual planning of a day go for you when you're going to go to a non-league game?
Yes, well, as you can see, the book is more heavily weighted towards the south of England. So I've started off around London, then I've got further around Kent, Essex, Sussex, etc. And then I started going off to Somerset, North Yorkshire. And I love going up to North Yorkshire anyway. So taking in grounds around North Yorkshire, Durham, whether it's Spennymoor, West Auckland, Northallerton, Tadcaster. Was most of those games when I was taking a break up in the north. But I'm looking at taking further afield, not just because the second book will be more as a northern bias, but because there's so many great grounds around, which I will cover, the likes of South Shields, Blyth Spartans, Bishop Auckland, etc., because they're also famous amateur clubs, as well as Crook Town, famous clubs like, for example, in the past, Wimbledon, Ilford, as has been in the past in the 30s to 50s years ago. So, yeah, there's a lot to take in, and it's a real mixture. When you go to grounds, there's no rhyme or reason why I'm going to go next week. I'm going to go to whatever grounds, and I've got a list of a number of grounds I'm going to go to. So I'm going to try and fit all those in, including all the grounds around National League, the North and South. So, yeah, there's still so much more to take in. I think it's not going to be a book 2. It's going to be a book 3 as well.
I mean, we touched on Blythe Spartans there. When I was a kid, me and my friend, my best pal used to be ball boys for Blythe Spartans, and we used to travel all the away games in the Northern League or whatever it was then, the Northern Premier League or whatever. We used to have some great FA Cup matches down at Nuneaton and places like that. There was a replay, I think, about 3 times there. And like you say, we used to absolutely love it. The atmosphere, even though the players weren't like stars like you are now, like the players sitting in the dressing room, the players coming through, having a big crack on. So yes, you touched on another one, West Auckland, who were one of the first winners of the World Cup, I believe, when it first started.
They were, yes.
So when you're going to a match, do you take notes or do you just remember stuff and then write it down later after you've had a few pints?
Well, I'm tending to be a bit more professional now. I take notes when I'm up there, but I've got a pretty good memory. And it's not just for the game itself, which I take in, and the grounds. It's I take in also talking to the officials, the volunteers, the fans. So it's a real mixture. And it's that combined takes in, to use the title, the beautiful grounds itself. So my book is not just about a review of the game, because anyone can do that. And most reviews of games, in my eyes, are pretty boring. You can get them in, the newspapers, etc. So it's a review partly on that, but also I add a humorous slant to it as well. So it makes it more, not just humorous, but you can actually feel as if you're there as well and have a laugh at the same time.
Yeah, I liked some of the honesty in the book. I was reading through it, some of the, from little things like being not going to a certain side of the pitches because you're too far away from the goals and stuff, to telling people that you can drive the car around the other side of the pitch at some grounds. And I'm loving the pictures in it as well. I'm just flicking through it now as I'm talking to you again, but like pictures of programs, like the stands, fans, people taking pictures. And it gives you like a really good insight into spending the day at the game, basically, along with maybe the food or the drink or a picture of a pint, which, like you say, I find really normal.
Exactly. It's bringing the whole thing to a kind of normal scene, as it were. It takes it away from the so-called glamorous Premiership and all the millionaire footballers and the billionaire owners. They're a world apart. They're nothing to do with most people's worlds. And I don't advocate people going to these grounds. I know you support Newcastle. I used to go to West Ham. I don't go anymore. And I'm not advocating people go to these top clubs and feeding these billionaires and millionaires more money than they actually need. I'd rather give it to the non-league clubs that do need it, and it's normal life, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, definitely. And even if I wanted to go to Newcastle now, I wouldn't be able to. Wouldn't get a ticket anyway. So,
sure.
But like I say, I know me and my pal at work went to watch Morpeth along the road last year. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed it. The minibus picked you up from the town centre, took you to the ground, took you back afterwards. You couldn't go wrong. Free trip in and out of the ground, and then obviously pie and pints when you were there. So, do you have without putting you on the spot too much, do you have a favourite ground?
The grounds that I've been to, top of my head, there's a couple in particular. Aldershot, because of the way they've got the barrel vaulted roofs, etc. It's a very old style non-league grounds. Lewes in Sussex, it's called the Dripping Pan, and it's got a real history behind it, from monks and pirates down on the south coast. So yeah, you look into these clubs and there's more than meets the eye. And they do some lovely food and drink there. But it's very much a fan-owned club as well. So, and you've also got clubs like, most people would have heard of Clapton CFC. It's a newly formed community football club based on the old Clapton FC. And you've got some real fans there, fervent fans, not just in this country, but from Italy coming over, who are complete nutcases, and they are the real ultras. And I'm sure they're on the list of MI5 as well. But hey, you think I'm joking? But it's a great fervent fans there, and they recently played a friendly against FC United of Manchester.
Yeah.
FC United were, a better class of the team, etc. You can tell the quality difference. But it wasn't that much of a difference, and they brought a number of fans down there. And for that particular team, Clapton CFC, in their league, they usually get probably about 30 maximum fans. And that game there's about 1,100. And they usually get at least 500 every game, which is crazy for that level. I mean, it's a very low level. So anyway, you did ask me. It's a different insight to clubs far lower down than the National League and North and South.
Yeah, you touched one of the clubs in here, Haringey Borough. I've actually been to that ground. I was involved with them a long time ago and had a website for football teams, and I got invited down to Haringey for the day, and they gave us a strip and everything. It was a great day out. And it was good. It was actually, when I seen Haringey, I'm thinking, I've never heard of Haringey for ages since I was there. And you've got them, you've got them in the book, which is great.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the games that you can ask me about grounds and games that stuck out. I went to see Fisher, which is a small team in South East London, and they're kind of a little club next to Millwall. And if you know, Millwall's fans can be quite raucous, to say the least, at times. You get the Millwall fans go along to this ground as well when they're not playing. But also one particular game I went to, I think they played Beckenham in a cup game. Anyway, they had another 50 extra fans flew all the way over from Norway. And you look into the history of the club and the area, London SC16, right next to the docks. And you've got some Norwegian seafarers' missions there. So they have this connection going back well over 100 years with Norwegian seamen who come to this club. And they all came over, got totally sloshed. And mixed with the Millwall fans there making a noise, it was an incredible din. So, yeah, great games and great fans. And that's what makes it, really, the clubs that makes it. It's the fans and the volunteers. Football is nothing without fans, and the clubs won't exist without volunteers.
Yeah, definitely. Good shout. I was going to ask about your longest trip. I know you've mentioned Spain for a non-league game. Is there any further afield than Spain you've been to?
Well, as I said, I've been up to Spennymoor on a Tuesday night, but funny enough, I was staying around Durham anyway, so it wasn't, I'm going there specifically, but I was around that area. But from where I live in South East London, but yeah, I'm starting to go further afield now. I just suddenly get up on Saturday morning and drive up to, say, Tamworth, on a Saturday, and I suddenly realise it's a bit further north of Birmingham than I thought it was. Yeah, and there's some other games I've been to midweek which weren't that far away, say going towards the west of England. But of course, when you come back and they close the M4, then they close the M25 in the section as well. It takes sometimes like 4 hours to get home on a Tuesday night, and you're suddenly thinking, why am I doing this? That's when you start to question your sanity.
And have you got not a bucket list, but have you got, I know you're going to try and visit lots of different grounds. Is there one ground in specifically that you would love to try and get to for the forthcoming book?
Yeah, if you pin me down, I'd say South Shields.
Yeah. Because
it's had some great reviews, not just the ground itself, and I've seen the pictures, but the fans and the people are apparently wonderful up here and in the club. So it's got some great reviews. So why not?
Definitely. And plans for the future? You touched on 2 and 3 books, 4 books possibly.
Yeah.
So if you want to maybe tell what you've got in mind going forward.
Yes, with my publisher, he's very much into the media. He's been involved in films, also TV programs, and he's got more in the pipeline, not just in football, but also related to music. And we're also looking to put bizarrely together a film. This is potentially at the moment nothing in writing, about non-league football, but in a humorous way. with a well-known German World Cup winning star alongside me in the film,
Sounds great.
which I can't name yet. But it's going to be a bit of a weird thing, and it's going to be as if almost the guy's thinking, what the hell am I doing here? And I'm thinking, why the hell am I bringing him here? And it all goes off from there. So it's a good script, and that could come out. Just need some funding for it.
Excellent. Well, it's been great speaking to you about where's the best places for people to get hold of your book.
Right. The website is www.olddogBooks.net. That's all one word, olddogBooks.net. And also we have, just to let you know, it's not just the generic book, which you may see on the front cover, and it's got a flag of saying more flags than fans, which we got from a club called Wingate and Finchley in North London. Turned up one evening and they had a crowd of about just over 100 people for an Isthmian, I think it's Isthmian Premier, maybe. Anyway, turns up there and they haven't got many fans, but they got loads of flags. And that one stuck out, the more flags than fans. So we put that on the front cover. Anyway, the point of this point I'm saying is it's not just the generic flag we've got on the front cover. We've also got about 45 different clubs we signed up for, in which we put their flag or their crest or their main grandstand on the front cover. So whether it's Potter's Bar, whether it's Enfield, whether it's Bognor Regis, they're on the front cover selling, say, between 20 to 50, and even one club's taken on 200 books.
Good
and
stuff.
they're selling them to their fans, selling it online. So that's what we're doing. We booked two, generating more of those clubs to come on board. And with the finance from the books itself, 33% of what we take from the retail price goes back to the clubs.
Excellent.
So we're putting money back into the clubs, what we believe in. It's not just a money-making exercise at all, far from it.
I don't know if there's anybody else you want to give a shout-out, Ray, while you're on.
Co-contributor, Andy Sawyer, who's put in 12 of the games in there. My publisher, Paul Hallam. And anyone else I know and my travels around. But yeah, those two.
No problem. Well, many thanks for coming on.
Pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you guys up when I come up to Blythe or South Shields.
Yeah, Blythe, South Shields or Morpeth. Morpeth Town's got a good ground as well, so good stuff.
Excellent.